so happy to be here, though. I'm very excited, very happy to be here. Partly because I'm just surrounded by so many amazing and incredible people who are leaders in their field. And what I've noticed is that everybody here has a global mindset, which is very, very important. Would you agree with me? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, my name is Dr. Jamar Montgomery, and I will be talking about digital identity, the basis for global citizenship. Now, before we get started, I want to go through a simple exercise. When we start talking about identity, what does identity mean to you? Yeah, it means who you are, right? Yeah. Go ahead, we're gonna pass the mic around. Go ahead. What does identity mean to you?
I think it's everything for me, basically. It is what I represent, what I believe in, my name, the things I stand for, the things I'm against.
Okay, pass it the mic.
For me, I'll just keep it simple. It's just definitely something that shows me. So even if I'm not there, but once you see it, you know that, okay, this is this person. So it's just me in any kind of format that anyhow, but something that just shows me.
Okay, so before you pass the mic, identify yourself.
I am a 25-year-old African female.
Go ahead, keep going.
I'm interested in natural sciences.
Okay, you didn't give me your name.
Oh, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
My name is Kemi.
Okay, pleasure to meet you, Kimmy, a 24-year-old African female that is interested in natural sciences. Go ahead. Thank you. Pleasure to meet you, Kimmy.
My name is Alex.
Alex, pleasure to meet you, Alex.
We already met yesterday.
Yes, we did.
My name is Alex, based in Lagos. 28 years old. For now, I'm based. Presently working in the research sector.
Perfect. Thank you. You gave me four data points. Go ahead. Pleasure to meet you, Alex. Go ahead. Mr. Cool Guy, go ahead.
Alright, so I'm Michael Rutaraja. I'm a storyteller. I tell story with data and images. Currently passionate about telling stories of blockchain and analysis.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that data. Go ahead. So, next. I want to make sure I know everybody. So, Kimmy, Alex, Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Ayo.
Ayo, what's up, Ayo?
I'm okay. I'm 28 years old. I'm a trader, businessman, nothing much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Pleasure to meet you, Ayo.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Ola.
What's up, Ola?
I'm good. I'm 24 years old. I'm a photographer. I'm a creative. I have this full brand. Anything that concerns creativity, basically, that's what I do.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you, Ola. So now, what have we done? We just identified ourselves, right? What we did is we given ourselves some way of how we're going to interact with one another. Why is that important? It's important because you're a unique individual. You're a unique individual. If I said, I'm 28 years old, I'm based in Lagos, that's a couple people here, right? If I now start giving you more information about me, now you're able to identify me as an individual. So when we start talking about identity, we start talking about all these different data points and how you might know somebody. So now who am I? I'm Dr. Jamar Montgomery. I'm from the United States. I am a blockchain educator. I'm also a politician. I'm also a lawyer. I'm also an engineer. So I'm giving you more information about me so that you know, hey, when you hear, oh, who's that guy from America? Who is that engineer? Well, we could talk about any engineer. But the more information that you give me, now you're able to identify who I am. So now when I ask you, who am I? The ways that we identify ourselves is through our passports, national identification card, our credit score, our internet domains, our social media handles, our medical records, criminal records, bank account, crypto wallets, court records, our Netflix suggestions. our nicknames, our email accounts, our student IDs, our tax ID numbers, our driver's license, all these different ways of identifying ourselves based upon the information that's critical to whatever body, right? Which information is critical to, oh yeah, I'm not recording on my iPad. Because you can record on my iPad, thank you. Hola, see? That's why it's good to know everybody. And we got somebody in the back over there. I'm going to introduce her. I know who she is. Her name is Sarah. So when we start talking about digital identity, or we start talking about identity in general, we're trying to identify who we are. Who is this unique person? All right, next slide. Why do I need digital identity? Has anybody traveled outside the country? Anybody been outside of Nigeria? What do you need in order to travel outside the country?
Passport, the COVID-19, the yellow fever slip, money.
Because you're identifying who is that broke person over there, right? So that's another way of identifying yourself is through money. So he said in order to travel outside the country, he needed his passport, needed his COVID-19 test, or a vaccination card, and he needed money. In order for me to come to this country, I needed my passport. I also needed a visa. I also needed my COVID-19. Well, what happens if you lose those documents? Anybody ever lose their ID card, bank card, any of that? How much of a hassle was that? You're more likely to lose your cards than you are to lose your phones. Think about that. Think about that. Or imagine you have the ability now of saying, hey, my ID number is this, and now it's associated with a picture of you. In the United States, one of the things that they've done, and one of the ways that they've been able, why police brutality is part of an issue, is because they will utilize simple laws as a way of criminalizing you. So now, if you do not, it is illegal for you to not have an ID if you're over 18 years old. If you are caught without an identification card, they can detain you until they are able to identify who you are. In the United States, we have something that's also called a social security number. This is important because when we go about talking about identity, it's about what pieces of information are needed. With digital identity, and particularly utilizing the blockchain, we're able to say the bank account, my bank only needs this information. My school only needs this information. I'm able to pick and choose which information I give out. What were we talking about? Having more ownership over your identity. In the United States, I don't know if this is a big issue here in Nigeria, is that a lot of our data is sold. Is that an issue here in Nigeria? Huh? It might be the same, right? But we can't tell, right? You know how one of the ways that you know that your data is being sold? When you go on Facebook. When you go on LinkedIn. When you go on all these different areas that collect all this data, this personally identifiable information about you to try to sell you something. Why does LinkedIn need to know my birthday? Why does LinkedIn need to know where I live? Why does Facebook need to know where I live? Unless I want them to know where I live. If you're going to provide a service that's for my benefit, then I want to give you that information. One of the things I used to hate, it was always, I was out doing something I had no business, and my parents would call me like, where are you at? Well, where I'm at is currently part of my identity. Why is that part of my identity? I'm somewhere where I'm not supposed to be. So that means I've gone from being a good child to being a bad child. We've never thought about our locations as being part of identity. Next slide. How do I use digital identity? How do we use digital identity? Anybody? Go ahead. To buy stuff online. Anybody here have an Amazon account? Yeah, an Amazon Prime account. Can somebody else access your account? No. Huh. Anybody else here have a Gmail or Yahoo account? Anybody have a private domain? Their own website? Yeah. So when we start thinking about how do I use my digital identity, it has always been an identity that you have to go through somebody else to get. And you're at their mercy to keep it. Right? Anybody here have Twitter? Anybody been kicked off of Twitter? Anybody know anybody who has been kicked off of Twitter? Why were they kicked off of Twitter? No reason, right? Was that part of their identity? Anybody in here ever sold a domain? No? I have. So I bought up a few domains for like Bloomberg Business. Yeah. Capitalism is a beautiful thing when it works for you. When we start talking about our digital identity, now our digital identities become part of our brand. Would you agree? So if you have a business and somebody else owns that, that's your identity, but somebody now owns it. How valuable is that to you? If I own Coca-Cola.com, how valuable is that to the Coca-Cola Corporation? Is that how we would be able to identify the Coca-Cola Corporation? What is my digital identity? If I wouldn't have asked you your name, I wouldn't know who any of you are. Well, I know who Tofa is. I know who Michael is. I know who Lemmy is. But if I wouldn't have asked you any of that information, I wouldn't have known anything about you. But I just met them yesterday. How do I know them? In what ways do I know them? I know them through their Instagram accounts. I know them through their Twitter accounts. So all the ways in which I know people have always been through private platforms. And if the platform is private, that platform can kick me off and remove my identity, remove my data, remove every history of me like I never existed. It's dangerous. But that is the kind of power that we've given corporations. Next slide, please. Who's that handsome man right there? Oh, he looks like me, right? So now we're talking about my digital identity. What is part of my digital identity? It's my Instagram page, Dr. Jamar Montgomery. My LinkedIn, Jamar Doc Montgomery. My Twitter, Doc Monty for Us. My TikTok, do dances and everything, Dr. Jamar Montgomery. But did you know that there's something else that you can own your digital identity that's not based upon a private entity? Did you know that? You said you did? Give me an example, sir. Oh, you're speaking music to my ears. Say it louder.
Web3.
Web3. Oh. One more again. Web3. So what kind of what ways in which I can own my identity in Web3?
So basically what I know about Web3 is that it gives you an opportunity to not just read and write the web, but to own the web.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So basically Web3 is kind of making you own your own data, more like, I believe.
Absolutely. That's a great explanation. Thank you. So, Web3, what he's talking about is the new layer of the internet. The current internet that we have right now, what we're utilizing, what I use to build these slides, Google Drive, right, and Google Slides, that is Web 2. Meaning I'm going on a private platform that is listed on the internet, and I'm dependent on that platform to utilize my data. If I get locked out of my account, I do not have access to it, do I? Is that truly my account? No, because if somebody can cut me out of it, then you really don't own it, right? Next slide, please. What's that? My website, drjamarmontgomery.com. This is another way in which I identify myself. Now, do I own my domain? Say it again.
You paid for it.
I paid for it. What happens if I don't pay? So even with something that I think that I own, such as my domain name, I still have to go through a site like GoDaddy, right? I go through Wix, go through Squarespace in order to own something that I say is mine. I can say, hey, I got my own website. That's Web 2. We move into something called Web 3. Next slide, please. What's this? Legal ID, Web 3 legal ID. This is one of the first governments to provide their citizenship cards through what we call Web 3. Web 3 allows us to own our data. Once again, Web 2 is what we have right here. It's read and write. I can read what's on Facebook, I can write what's on Facebook, but I don't own the data that's on Facebook. Web 3 means I can read my data on the internet or on the blockchain, which is built on top of the internet. I can read the data on the blockchain, I can write data to the blockchain, and I can own actual assets on the blockchain. I can own the data that is on the blockchain. And if I put it there, I can take ownership of it. Does that make sense? Good. Now, what we're starting to see are a couple of countries who are implementing Web 3. One of the ways that they're implementing Web 3 is utilizing digital identity on the blockchain. Palau, the Republic of Palau, has a digital residency program that gives you an ID card. You're able to open up accounts. You're able to have a virtual address in Palau. Palau is a nation in the Pacific, and they're utilizing Web 3. Now what they're saying is, hey, you don't have to have a physical ID. We're going to put your ID on the blockchain. We're going to send it to you as what we call an NFT. Anybody heard that? NFTs, right? Non-fungible tokens. Most people think it's just art, but I can utilize NFTs. NFTs are just a container for whatever I want to put into it. I sell books as NFTs. I sell courses as NFTs. I'm getting ready to sell some other products as NFTs, right? But now I can put my own data, something as important as my identification card, in order, the same data that allows me to open up a bank account, the same data that allows me to open up a business. I now can have digital identity that is government recognized and government sponsored. Another country that has led the way in this is Ukraine. I just got back from Washington, D.C., supporting the Ukrainian delegation to the United States. And these guys pulled out their phone, and they had their driver's license, they had their passport, they had their vehicle registration, all on an app. They no longer needed to hold physical identification. So as long as you had your phone, as long as you remembered your particular code for your app, you were good. You were able to travel. You were able to buy plane tickets. You're able to open up a business. So when we start looking at digital identity, what we're saying is, I want to give you your information and then allow you to determine who has access to it. Not everybody, these private companies don't need to know your age. They don't need to know your location. What's scary about our phones these days is that they have the accelerometers, they have the sensors in there, right? The sensors can determine who you are based on how you walk. Crazy, right? The amount of data that is on us that becomes part of our identity. Next slide, please. Okay, good. Which brings us to the interactive part of this, of my masterclass. All right, everybody pull out your phones. Who's got a MetaMask wallet in here? Got a MetaMask wallet? Kimmy. Hey. Who else has a MetaMask wallet? Michael, Lammy. Oh yeah? Oh yeah. IO. Got you. You have a MetaMask wallet, right? Okay, good. You got a one too. All right, I want you to go to app.ens.domains.
Ethereum name server.
App.ens.domains. I'm not understanding you.
Ethereum name server.
Enter
Ethereum name server.
a name server?
Yeah, ENS.
ENS, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. Ethereum name service. It was just the way you was pronouncing it. I didn't, I'm an American, man. I'm an American, dude. Forgive me. I'm still getting used to the different pronunciations. Forgive me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I was making sure I understood it. So, everybody there? What? No. App.ens.domains. Did that pull it up? No. All right, perfect. What does it say? Ethereum naming service. What the Ethereum naming service is it allows you to own your name on the blockchain. Own your name on the blockchain. Now here it is for those of you with MetaMask wallets, right? Your MetaMask starts off with 0x65 something, blah, 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 right? This long number, right? What the Ethereum naming service allows you to do is it allows you to purchase your name on the Ethereum naming service and then associate that name with your wallet. So instead of going through that process of making sure, double checking, triple checking whether or not you put in the right address, right? All you can do, you can put in docmontgomery.eth and now send your funds directly there. On top of that, your Ethereum naming service allows you to put all the different information, your Twitter, your YouTube, your other addresses. It allows you to own and put your data all there. At the same time, it also allows you to build a website. I tried to put it up on here earlier, but it takes too long to load. So that's one of the challenges with Web3 is the amount of time that it takes to load. So search for your name on app.ens.domain. Of course. Is your name available? Do you have a MetaMask wallet? Okay, cool. Well, we're going to get everybody onboarded into Web3 before we're finished. Paulina, are you just sitting behind the computer, or are you going to participate in this exercise? You've been here this whole time, you've been all the knowledge, and are you utilizing that knowledge, Paulina? She just said, I've just been working too hard. I don't want to do any of this. Why are you making me think? It's okay. I'm just here to help you. That's it. All right. How much is your name? How much is it to buy your name right now, Kimmy? What about you, sir, in the back? Is your name available?
Yeah.
Huh.
The actual one, yeah.
How much is it?
Mine's 25 USD.
25 USD.
Yeah.
How much is yours to register for one? 24. How much is yours? 24, about the same? You see this? You see that the price is basically around the same. So regardless of basically how, if your name is over 4 letters, then they're pretty much the same price. The ones that are 3 letters and 2 letters and 1 letter are the most expensive ones. But anything 4 letters and over, pretty much the same price. Now, put the registration for 2 years. $29. You see it only went up by $5. 30, right? So basically $30 worth of Ethereum. All right, we're gonna do an exercise. Who here is following me on Instagram? Who's here following me on Instagram? Raise your hand. All right, we got one. Give yourself 1 point. Give yourself 1 point. Who here is following me on LinkedIn? You're following me on LinkedIn, Paulina? Oh, now you want to participate? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Give yourself a point if you are. Who here is following me? Who in here has my WhatsApp? You got me on LinkedIn too? Yep. You got my WhatsApp?
Yes.
Okay. Who in here has me on Twitter? 3. Damn it. I forgot you. Take off. Who in here has me on TikTok? No. Okay. So, who are the 2 people who have me? Lemmy, Michael, and Alex, right? I'm paying you already. No, you already. You're going to be the winner of. I'm purchasing your. I'm going to purchase your. Do you have a MetaMask wallet? You have a MetaMask wallet. Okay. I'm going to purchase your domain and I'm going to send it to you. All right. Sound good? Cool. So, Kimmy. Let me see how much money I got right there. Let me make sure that you get it. Let me make sure. Okay. Making money in crypto, but I ain't made that much money just right now. You know, it's a bear market right now. Okay, cool. And type in your name, sir. See what happens when you follow me on Twitter, on Instagram? Can you go back, Paulina? Go back a couple slides so that, you know. There you go. See what happens when you follow me on social media? You get put on game. It's all good, though. Are you ready? Okay. Now. See, the price done went up because we done searched it. Expensive, man.
Oh.
It's all good. This is my gift to you. Confirm. All right? Are y'all learning anything? Good. Well, so right now what's going on is I clicked request to register. So if any of you want to do this at home, I put in the name, right? I put in that I wanted to put it in for a year. And I said, okay, request to register. So it's going to cost me a certain number of ETH, a point zero something ETH, which is about approximately $32, right? I click request to register. What it does is it spends the next minute and a half, 2 minutes, seeing if anybody else has looked into the name, see if anybody else wants to register the name. And then as soon as that's finished, it's going to tell me to confirm. And then I'll be able to confirm. I'll sign the transaction in my MetaMask wallet. And then I can either own it myself or I can assign it to him and send it directly to him. Make sense? So now, instead of putting in that 0x, blah, 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 I remember when I first got started in crypto, the biggest fear I had was sending crypto to the wrong address, right? How many of y'all done double-checked, triple-checked, put in another app, go look at it, okay, sit there and go through each one, right? And then it's like that first time that you really send a big, crypto transaction, like everything down here starts puckering up. And then after you've sent a few transactions, then you get more comfortable. But the moment that I got exposed to the Ethereum naming service, and it allowed me to be able to the moment that it allowed me to open up, utilize my wallet, utilize my name as my wallet, then it was much easier to send people, hey, send it to docmontgomery.eth. What does it show on the screen right now? It says click register to move to the third step.
The question is, that domain has an extension name of .eth.
.eth, yes.
So does that mean we can only perform transaction on the Ethereum blockchain? Can that be used for Bitcoin or other coins and tokens and other chains and stuff?
That is a great question. It is only designed for EVM, Ethereum-related coins, Ethereum-related blockchains. So the interesting part about it is that even with Polygon, I can put in docmontgomery.eth, right? Because Polygon is what we know as a layer 2 blockchain, right? It's a scaling solution for the Ethereum blockchain. So it still works for that. You know what it also works on? AVAX. So anything that's basically ERC20, based upon the ERC20 format, right? You can utilize it. Now, it might take some time looking for it, but you can still use it.
So is there like any universal way to just...
Not currently, and that's where one of the biggest opportunities in the space is for interoperability, blockchain interoperability, being able to resolve multiple addresses. Now, what you can do in your Ethereum naming service is you can put your Bitcoin address. You can put that in there. However, you can't send Bitcoin to your Ethereum address, but you can find out what your Bitcoin address is if it's listed on your Ethereum wallet. Does that make sense? But thank you, everybody. I'm glad to share something that I'm passionate about. Blockchain and cryptocurrency has literally changed my life. Literally changed my life from a financial perspective, from a professional perspective, from a personal perspective, from an academic perspective. I go all around the world teaching on crypto and teaching on blockchain. I was in Davos, Switzerland, where the World Economic Forum is held just a couple weeks ago, speaking about money in politics and utilizing crypto in politics. And now I'm here talking about something that I'm passionate about. So I would like to help the Nigerian government and governments across the continent on implementing digital identity solutions. So if that is something that anybody is interested in partnering up with, learning about, please contact me. You got my WhatsApp. You got my, well, you guys don't have me on WhatsApp, so if you don't want my information, I'm just gonna give it to you. You got all my other stuff. You know what I mean? You got all these other ways of contacting me, but if you don't use them, I mean, that's on you. So thank you, everybody. I'm Dr. Jamar Montgomery.
Okay, so you are in Nigeria, of course, and you didn't mention anything about the little effort by the government in terms of blockchain, which is the e-Naira. So I would want you to just say something about that, and you trying to push that effort. How do you think having the e-Naira will open the minds of the government to accept other form of blockchain technology or maybe cryptocurrency?
Beautiful. So the e-Naira is what we know as a central bank digital currency, CBDC, right? Which is a little different from a cryptocurrency. It is blockchain based, but not necessarily a cryptocurrency. You still utilize a cryptographic algorithm to secure it. However, it is a little different. Now, I am a little upset with the e-Naira, and this is why. I tried opening up a wallet yesterday and the day before yesterday, and it still has not opened up at all. I downloaded the app. I went and tried to get me a bronze wallet. It just said I just needed a phone number and put the country where I'm from, and no wallet was open. Well, why am I upset? Because we're in a cash crisis right now. And I, as a foreigner coming in, right, I was already worried about my visa. Right, so I get my visa. Then I'm like, okay, cool. I brought money with me. And I'm like trying to go to the exchange place, and they're like, oh no, we don't have any right now. What? All right, I'm like, okay, so then I was like, all right, cool. But then I was trying to use my cards, and they're like, oh, it can only be a Nigerian card. So I'm literally here broke in Nigeria, right? And if y'all wouldn't have been such good people, I'd be in trouble, right? The good thing is Uber works, and it charges my card, right? So I'm able to get around, right? So I had to download SendWave. In order to be able to transfer money from my American bank account to other people, and even that takes time. So for me, the e-Naira will be great. And it will be even greater when the Nigerian government hires somebody like me to help them out with it. However, there's also an opportunity. The challenge is that when we have challenges like this, and particularly now we're close to election times, and now the government has done some different things with the currency, in order to keep your economy booming, and also to help invite others, this is why cryptocurrency is so important. Because if I was told you, hey, I'll pay you in Bitcoin, there's somebody that will take it. Do you know I've had more trouble trying to use United States dollars than anything? Like, that has been frustrating. So knowing that somebody, in order I give you US dollars and you make the exchange for me, you're going to take a fee off of that, right? Versus Bitcoin, Ethereum are literally global currencies or global crypto assets. It touches every national currency, every national currency. Yes, do people utilize cryptocurrency to perform fraud as a payment of fraud? Absolutely. But you know what they also used to use fraud? Naira. You also know what they also utilize for fraud? The United States dollar. So the same systems, the same problems that we're trying to quote unquote prevent with a new system is the same problems that we have with the old system. And given somebody like myself that wants to do business in Nigeria, that wants to partner up with people, that wants to pour into the economy, cryptocurrency gives me an opportunity to do that. But if the government is going to ban cryptocurrency, what they're saying is we're going to further isolate ourselves from the global market. Now, if the exchange rate is bad between Naira and, let's say, the Turkish lira, let's say the Swiss franc, you still have Bitcoin, you still have Ethereum where you're able to trade and do international business. That is why cryptocurrency is so important. And once again, the Nigerian government hires me to help them with the e-Naira. We can make the e-Naira great. I want to help my people. I want to help my people all over the continent. What happens is in America is we see ourselves as a quote unquote minority. You will never ever get away with calling me a minority, ever in America. Why? Because we feel like we're a minority in America, but not realizing that we have a whole connection back here on the continent. That's why I'm here in Africa Next Conference, is to help build those connections. Because then when you realize that I'm now part of a 1.3 billion melanated community, you can't talk to me like I'm a minority again. You can't treat me like I'm a minority. Now, when you know that you have access, what happens? What is it? It's called Japa? People leave Japa, right? People leave Nigeria because they feel that there's better opportunities. They go and get educated in Europe, go get educated in America, right? I'm saying, all right, well, let's make the exchange. There's opportunities here in Africa. There's expertise in education in America. There's opportunities in America. There's expertise in education here. Let's put it together and make Africa the global superpower that we're supposed to be. And the way that we do that is with our currency, with our economics. This is why it's so important. This is why I'm so passionate about blockchain and cryptocurrency, because what it allows us to do. If I know that I can travel to Ghana and I have all my information on a digital passport, I don't have to go through that process of visa. I don't have to know, thank God I knew somebody. But I don't have to go find somebody's uncle. Hey, can you go put my visa through, please? Please. Right? I don't have to go through that. And that's the challenge, is we want to be able to, freedom of movement. We start to think about what our true human rights are. A right to privacy, right? A right to freedom of travel. Did you know that I'm a prisoner in the United States? I do not have a right to leave the United States. It is a privilege to leave the United States. Think about that. It is my right to come back in, but I do not have a right to leave. Most people don't understand that. If I do not have a passport, I cannot leave my country. If I lose my passport, I still have the right to come back into my country. What happens is with your passport when you're international is you do not have the right to leave that country. So once again, if I have access to currency, what you will find out is your money is freer than you. Your money can travel internationally and do whatever it wants to do. Can you do that? So the moment that you're as free as your money, that's how you know you're free. Thank you. How was that, Paulina? Go ahead. I'm here. I love this. This is what I'm here for. This is something that I'm passionate about. I can talk about this all day. Go ahead, brother. Introduce yourself, please.
Okay, my name is Ifeanyi.
Ifeanyi. Ifeanyi.
No way, I'll allow it. Something close. Something close.
I want to make sure. I have hearing damage. I used to work for the United States military, so I used to work around explosives. So my hearing has been bad since I left the Navy. Go ahead. E.
Fine.
Fine.
Ye.
Ifeanyi. Go ahead.
Leave, but I plan to come back as well to do something here. So how can we leverage on this technology? There are several things going on. We have the channel metaverse. Everyone wants to play the metaverse today. Everyone has games, right?
So extended reality and augmented reality. That's going to be the main basis for moving fully into the metaverse. Now, a lot of times what the dirty secret in the crypto community is that we put out tokens and cryptocurrency operates like venture capitalism for the 99%. So normally venture capitalism, right, big money, private equity, that's for the 1%, the top 1% of the world, the richest people in the world, right? Well, cryptocurrency allowed for the 99%, everybody else who isn't part of the 1%, to be able to invest in projects that have high rates of return, okay? All right. Everybody wanted to focus on metaverse and VR and crypto just so that it was, and they treated it like a money grab. So instead of focusing on what is the true utility, what is the service, what is the value that I'm actually bringing? Now, I'm gonna ask you a question right now. How valuable would it have been for this to be recorded and people be able to show up in the metaverse?
I would say extremely valuable because we have the invention called mixed reality, right? Which is both virtual and augmented at the same time. So yes, that would be extremely valuable when we get to pay, and then we could actually see them here while they're not here, right? So yeah, that would be extremely valuable.
Now, watch this. You had one too many drinks last night, and you got to come to a conference. And you're not feeling quite well at the conference, right? Stomach's a little bubbly. But you're still able to participate in the conference because you put on your little goggles, or you got a little headset and you put your phone there, and you're still able to ask questions. You're able to utilize the microphone on your phone to ask questions. Now it doesn't look like you're there, right? But you're able to sit in a digital representation of this conference room with other people who aren't physically there and still be able to participate. So when you ask about what do I think about the metaverse and moving into the metaverse, what I say is look at what are the gaps right now. The gaps right now are that there should be more people at this conference. Imagine people who didn't have visas still being able to show up to the conference and participate in the conference. That's one, right? My next move is I'm going to be teaching in the metaverse. So everything about crypto. So now, instead of you just watching a video of me, right? Now you can put on your little goggles, see what I'm putting up on the screen, and being able to interact with others. Now, we have to realize that we're all trying to figure out this new virtual reality. What do I mean by that? Who'd ever thought that you'd be able to get fired for a tweet? 10 years ago, we wouldn't, ain't nobody listen to what he got to say on Twitter. Now, thanks to Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, right? He's hiring and firing people utilizing a private platform to handle government business. So you've taken something that exists on the digital realm, but has real world consequences. So every time that we start thinking about metaverse and AR and XR, what we're looking at is how can we have real world impact utilizing digital technology. Now to the cryptocurrency part of it. Cryptocurrency should just act like fluid. Be able to just allow you to make it easy for people to be able to pay, for people to be able to interact with you. Make sense? Did I answer your question? Ifanye. Ifanye. Say it one more time all together. Ifani. 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 Ife. Ifeani. Ifeani. Oh, hey, got you. Thank you. Go ahead, Kimmy. Oh, sir. Wait. Ifani. Damn. I'm gonna get it right. Go ahead.
Who's next?
She is.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for the space. I didn't really know what to expect today, and I was very open-minded. There were a few things I was hoping we would discuss.
What you want me to discuss? Let's talk about it.
I had a few questions, but I think there's only one I'm going to address here. But I'm really interested in the topic as a whole, and all of the sub-components of it. So I wonder, first of all, are you going to have any more spaces around this topic?
Absolutely. That's why you should, follow me on Twitter, because I do Twitter spaces. That's why you should follow me on Instagram, because I do Instagram lives. You know what I'm saying? But if you want me to do LinkedIn, you want me to do stuff on LinkedIn, I can do stuff on LinkedIn as well.
Twitter's fine.
Twitter's fine? Okay, great. What are your questions? Ask me the next questions.
Okay, so I'm really interested in finding out what other potential future developments and trends there are in the digital identity space, and how most of these can impact what global citizenship really means.
Beautiful.
It's going to be a very long journey getting to that point.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna answer the question like this. All right. First, it starts off with an organization, right? Organization. We think of organizations. We think of what? Governments, right? Companies, right? Now, when you go into your company, sometimes they give you an ID card, right? That has become part of your identity, right? With that identity that you have, sometimes you utilize your badge in order to get into certain rooms, correct? So now you've joined an organization, they've given you credentials. With those credentials, you've been given access. Now, how does that translate into the blockchain and Web3 world? There's a thing called DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, that you're familiar with. What we're currently working on right now is blockchain voting. We're creating DAOs that allow you to have greater control over your politicians. So with having KYC identity on the blockchain, right? KYC and AML, having those measures in place, now we can eliminate voter fraud, right? Is that a big issue here in Nigeria? Right, voter fraud. We just had a whole bunch of folks in the United States storm the Capitol because they felt that voter fraud was going on, right? Okay, so you have KYC and AML. Why is it in America, they can take property from you, they can say that they've given you notice by sending a letter in the mail, or by sending sending notification through the telephone. Why is it that I cannot sign up for government services in the same way?
Thank you so much, General. I think this session is indeed very, very informative and eye-opening for me as a person. But my question would be, we've been talking about all the problems of not utilizing data and all that. My question would be, for example, we have a problem of structure in this country. Corruption has eaten so deep into our fabric that I do not know when we're going to start getting it right. So the question would be, going forward, what do we do? Where do we start? Because obviously the government is not going to listen to you. But I heard you say something that we can do it so much that the government would later want to catch up with us, right? So how do we start? What do we do? Take, for example, this question of cryptocurrency. It is the Central Bank of Nigeria that actually banned the cryptocurrency in Nigeria. Can you imagine that? The rest of the world is going forward and we are going 100 steps backward. Because we have leaders who do not listen. Okay, so what do? We've talked enough of the problems, enough of the disadvantages, enough of the weaknesses. How about talking about the solution going forward? Where do we start? There's a step 1, a step 2, a step 3. What are they? How do we go about it? That's what I'm interested in right now.
Linking up with some of the top people who are in the manufacturing or even automotive space. Look at the top 3 industries here in Nigeria, or the top 10 industries here in Nigeria. Look at what are their needs for data. When you identify what their needs for data are, now what you start doing is creating your own system. Now, simply put, getting people to trust the information, getting people to trust that system is the challenge. Why? Because what happens? Oh, well, this so-and-so is connected with so-and-so in the government, so how do I know you're not going to sell me out? Right? Those are the same problems that we experience in America. Same problems, right? However, if we know, like you said, what the problem is, you're interested in what are the solutions. So something as simple as my birth certificate. I want to put my birth certificate on the blockchain. I want to make sure that nobody else has access to it, and I want to make sure that when I send this token to somebody, that this is the only information that they have access to.
The birth certificate is issued by the government.
So when do you receive a copy of your birth certificate?
Yeah.
So then you're in control of that document.
I also have a copy.
That's fine. That's fine. The issue is that your government, the issue is that you don't have, let me make sure I say this correctly. Even though the government has it, right? Even though the government has it, if you show that the system that you've developed is more secure or faster than what the government can provide, that's going to get the government's attention. What's really going to make them turn their heads is the moment that you marry that ease of access with finance. When they can see that there's a financial benefit to utilizing a system that has been created by the people that helps them operate easier than the government. Like what are people doing right now that they're, got you, thank you. What are people doing right now that there's been a change in the currency? What are the people doing now? You came up with a solution outside of the government, right? That worked. What I'm saying is now professionalizing that. I know it's not necessarily a word, but I'm saying that crisis has hit whether you're selling things on the corner or whether you're sitting up in an ivory tower. Everybody is affected by it. So, since the people who are at the top have more power of doing it and may not necessarily be connected with the government, but have access to the expertise, this is how we now need to start thinking. Because the challenge is wanting to work with your government, but your government creating challenges for you when you're trying to help them. And that is frustrating. It's very frustrating. It makes you, this is why young people feel the way that they feel about their government all over the world. Because they see the problems, they want to implement the solutions. Give me the space, give me what we call a sandbox. Give me a sandbox to at least work the solution out. But you won't even give me a sandbox. I'm saying that either we're going to have to wait 20 or 30 years for this generation to go, right? The current leaders to go. Or we build right now, perfect our systems during that 20 or 30 year period, so that now we understand when they're gone, we've already got something that's up and rolling, we've just now given it a government stamp. But the moment that you're able to tie it to financing, people did not pay attention to cryptocurrency until there was tied to actual institutional finance. Or when the numbers were looking like institutional finance and government was not included. The United States started paying attention to cryptocurrency and said, ooh, wait, this is $1 trillion market. Well, I need to make sure I'm taxing you on it. So I don't understand the technology, but I'm gonna tax you on it. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully I answered your question.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Orusmaika. So I want to correct the assertion that government banned cryptocurrency in Nigeria. So I'm a member of Stakeholders Association of Blockchain Practitioners of Nigeria. The truth is, cryptocurrency was not banned in Nigeria. What happened is they banned the bank from facilitating crypto transactions. Are you getting me? So there was a misconception about that. So that was why initially the police force was using that as an advantage to arrest people once they found any cryptocurrency app on your phone. So we, the body, we came up and we know how many people went to the station to pay. So we need to correct. That's why I'm correcting this. It was not banned. They only stopped the bank from facilitating crypto transaction. Hope that helps.
It helped, but it made it even more difficult, right? A lot of people's bank accounts were closed.
Okay, so
their money were stuck in there, they couldn't collect it.
Okay, so this is it. When the federal government did that, so that is why people came with, okay, let me stop. So that is why in Nigeria we run P2P. P2P is a Nigerian thing, it's not a global thing. So the P2P, if for instance, let me use Binance, probably everybody's familiar with Binance. So when you are doing a transaction in Binance, they will tell you, don't write anything that have to do with cryptocurrency, because the money is coming to your bank or going to someone else's bank account. So the federal government stopped banks from facilitating crypto payments. So if you are putting anything that have to do with crypto, it will raise a red flag in the bank saying this is a crypto transaction. So the bank are closing your account because they suspected that it is a crypto transaction. So this is the idea. So we know Nigeria and we know Nigerians. So most people, most government officials and retired generals and the rest, they were using crypto to launder money outside of Nigeria. So that is even why the government put a ban on crypto, not because you and I are making money from crypto, no. But people were using crypto to launder money outside Nigeria. So to stop that, so that is why the government put a ban on the bank to stop facilitating crypto payments. Does that make sense? Alright, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Thank you for that clarification. Mind you, that same conversation about how the money laundering conversation. Time up! All right, well, thank you everybody. I'm so glad to be here. Once again, there's benefits when you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and all that. So yeah. Thank you everybody. I'm Dr. Jamar Montgomery.